Welcome back to Home Talk USA with home improvement expert, the Cajun contractor, Michael King, on the Home Improvement Broadcasting Network. If you have a question or comment concerning home improvement repairs, new construction, or renovations, the Cajun contractor will get you the answers. And now, back to Home Talk USA and Apollo Media's radio talk show host of the year and the most recognizable name in all of home improvement radio, your host, the Cajun contractor, Michael King.
Welcome. That's right. I want to welcome all of you that was tuning in on our television show at HomeTalkTV.com. Also, our television audience. What a great subject we covered. We definitely want to thank Eric Guillory with Taylor and Tile AC, talking about their variable air-conditioned systems. So that was our topic on our television show. And if you happen to miss it, you can go to HomeTalkTV.com, and we will have it archived there. So that's HomeTalkTV.com. My next guest is Nick Cunningham. He's the president with a company called China 2 West Services. He is in China right now, and we thought it would be great to get him on and learn a little bit about what he does. And he's out there trying to find some good technologies to bring in here in the States. And I thought we'd talk with him. Hey, Mr. Nick, how you doing from China?
Hello, Michael. I'm great, thank you. Yeah. It's pretty early in the morning, but I'm feeling great. Got a coffee in hand. Looking forward to chatting with you.
Right. Now, how did you end up starting a company in China?
Well, that's a good question. So I was in the Marines. I don't know how that links, but there must be a link somewhere. I was in the Royal Marines for 9 years, and I was used to traveling around the world. And when I retired honorably in 2003, and I decided that, where's going to keep up the excitement of being in the Marines, but without being shot at. And obviously China was a sort of obvious choice with all the business that was going on there and the growth. I just went there and look for opportunities. Just really took a one-way flight and ended up staying there for 10 years.
Wow. Now, how did you get involved with product sourcing? Because why don't you explain product sourcing for my audience that pretty much might not be familiar with that, and then how did you get involved in it?
Well, that was, I went out there to China. I'm looking at all the opportunities that are there. And what happened was everybody I knew, and I wasn't in business at that time, but obviously I had a lot of friends. Everybody I knew was asking me to go and find a product they wanted to sell under the time on eBay and that kind of thing. And it just occurred to me that, if just the people I know are asking me to go and go to factories and check this and check that and find products, then there must be a business in it. So I sort of taught myself how to build a website, and I built a very bad website that was says that I'm a sourcing guy in China, and really and honestly I didn't know anything at the time, but I was there. I knew I was a good honest guy in China, and it just sort of it just led me down that path to get into product sourcing, just from what people were asking me to do.
Now, again, why don't you explain what is product sourcing, though? I mean, what separates, or what do you do? Basically, product sourcing, why don't you explain it?
Well, yeah. Product sourcing is the search for components or off-the-shelf product, or even factories that can do some R&D work to do product development, to make some private label custom products. So it's really where, in your example, your listeners in the U.S., if they're interested in selling products on Amazon or eBay, then they would come to us and they would ask us to go and find suppliers, good suppliers, obviously, which is the key. And the hard bit in China is finding good suppliers. But we go out there, we find good suppliers that are making the products that our customers want to make and sell. So that's it. That's it
very well said. Now, how can sellers discover new products, though, through you?
Yeah, so there's a number of ways that we do it in terms of finding new products with new suppliers. You can go obviously online. There's companies called Alibaba. You may have heard of them. They're quite famous now. Alibaba, they are one of a number of B2B or sourcing websites. Another one is Global Sources, which is a good one, madeinchina.com. So that's one way to do it. The problem with those kind of websites is that the factory can look great on paper, and you see it, their profile and their pictures, but the reality is often very different. That's not how they look when you go to visit them. And I have so many examples of that. You also don't really know anything about them. You don't know what the financial structure is. You don't know what their quality systems are. So there's an issue with that, and that requires, so you can make some initial research using those websites, but then you really do have to physically visit them or, get someone else, experts, to go and audit them. So that's one way you can do it. Another way is to go to trade shows. And of course, that's another good way to do it. And so it's to basic internet research. We use Baidu, which is a Chinese Google, because Google's actually banned in China. Baidu, if you can write Chinese and speak Chinese, then you can use that. But obviously, most of your listeners won't be able to do that.
Now, you said trade shows is a good. You said trade shows is a good source, huh? Well, that's how I think I found you, right?
Sorry, say that again, Michael?
Yeah, I said trade shows is a good source. I think that's how I found you, right?
Yeah, trade shows for sure. This is the thing. Trade shows in the U.S., a lot of them now, if you go to some of the bigger trade shows in the U.S., they'll have an international sourcing section. And you can go, they'll have, Chinese suppliers, Taiwanese suppliers, and some other parts of Asia actually at the show. So you don't need to go to China at all. You could just go to that show and check out the international sourcing section. And another tip that I have for people is look at the Hong Kong shows, because some of the China shows and the Canton Fair, we could talk about Canton Fair as well a little bit if we had time, but which is a big one for people that are in product sourcing and sellers on Amazon, etc. But the Hong Kong shows tend to be very good, and they have some good quality Chinese suppliers at those shows. And Hong Kong is a pretty nice place to visit too. So for people who want to go out to Asia and sort of dip their toe in it, Hong Kong, get it to a good Hong Kong trade show, and they'll enjoy their time. It's a bit more westernized, and also they'll meet some good factories.
Now, how many factories could one visit in a day, though?
Yeah, so you're going to meet those. If you do go to China and you're going to and you want to go and visit these factories, a lot of people, I get this from our customers, they say, "Oh, I've lined up 5 factories in a day." Well, the realities are that even in one city in China, and let's take an industrial city such as Dongguan or Shenzhen or even Guangzhou, which are all in near area to me, which is down in the south of China. You could travel for 2 hours from one factory to the other in the same city. And that would be quite common. That's not rare. That would be common. So once you get into the factory, so once you've found them finally after doing your journey, you're going to then, what we call it is the dog and pony show. They really want to show you a sort of good time. It's very important. In China is something called guanxi, which means relationship. And so, you have to, they really want to develop that friendship and relationship with you. So, they will take you sort of to a long lunch and a few drinks and that kind of thing. So, yeah, the reality is, to answer your question, Michael, 2 per day. And I'm talking in the same city. So
Wow.
maximum 3, yeah. So
Well, hold on that thought right there. We're talking to Nick Cunningham. He's the president with a company called China 2 West Services. We're talking about a product sourcing company from China, and right here on the Home Improvement Broadcasting Network, streaming live on the World Wide Web at HometalkUSA.com. Always support your local independent hardware stores and garden centers, and let's pledge to hire a vet today. I'm the Cajun Man. Y'all come back now, you hear? Yeah.
Where a city boy could go to get a little conversation, drink a little red wine, catch a little bit of those Cajun girls dancing beside a home.
Welcome back to Home Talk USA with home improvement expert, the Cajun contractor, Michael King, on the Home Improvement Broadcasting Network. If you have a question or comment concerning home improvement repairs, new construction, or renovations, the Cajun contractor will get you the answers. And now, back to Home Talk USA and Apollo Media's radio talk show host of the year and the most recognizable name in all of home improvement radio, your host, the Cajun contractor, Michael King.
Welcome back to the only home improvement show dedicated to you, the American consumer. Don't forget, we are streaming live on the World Wide Web at HometalkUSA.com. So don't forget, we do invite all my Home Talk USA radio listeners to tune in to Home Talk TV. That's HometalkTV.com. And I think we have 41, 42 episodes that are there now. And check it out at HometalkTV.com. But we're talking to Nick Cunningham. He is with a company called China 2 West Services. He is a product service sourcing company out of China. And he's explaining what product sourcing is and the benefits to us here in the United States, how we could take advantage of product sourcing, understand some of the technologies that are in China. Raw materials and components and things that maybe we can't get here in the U.S. So that's what we're talking about. And now, Nick, just for the break, though, you was explaining a little bit about what you do and the benefits of it. But what are some of the challenges of product sourcing, say from China, though?
Right. Yeah. Hi, Michael. The biggest challenge of all is to get through. It's a bit like when you're looking for a good factory in China, it's like looking for a needle in a haystack. And that's the biggest problem of all, because if you go on Alibaba, and I'm sure a lot of your listeners have looked at this, and looking for a product, they're going to type in whatever it is they're looking for, a hand tool or a shovel or something like that, and they're going to come up with 100,000 suppliers. And the question is, which ones are real? Which ones are any good? Which ones are the real factory and not some middle guy, working out of home? And that's the challenge. That's the biggest challenge of all, is to find a reliable supplier. And obviously, that's what we do. Is we will cut through all the chaff to find the wheat, and that's one of the things that we do. And after that, of course, you have the natural challenges of communications. Unless you can speak fluent Chinese, but most people generally can't. There's that issue, and some other issues in terms of differences in culture and ethics are a little different. So those are the main challenges, Michael.
Now, what should sellers really look for when selecting, say, a product supplier, though?
Yeah, that's a good question. What they need to do is they really need to look at, if they go onto the profile of a supplier, the little tip I have for people is look at, on Alibaba, for example, you can look at the company profile and it tells you what their export markets are. And what people don't realize is that China supplies the whole world. And a lot of Americans and Western Europeans as well they think that it's just supplying them. We have that sort of idea that they're just supplying us and they just supply Walmart and those kind of things. No, these guys are supplying the whole world. And the rest of the world, or a lot of the rest of the world, doesn't have such high standards as the U.S. or Western Europe. So there are a lot of suppliers, in fact, the majority of suppliers are not worried about that high standard. They're more worried about price because that's what their customers are worried about. So when you're looking at the profile, if you can see that the majority of the company's exports are going to the U.S. or Western Europe, then you're on the right track. That doesn't mean necessarily that they are a perfect supplier, but that is a very good thing to look for.
Now, what if a person is, I don't know, what advice would you give offer sellers who are experiencing problems with their supplier, though?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, tongue in cheek, I'm going to say, give me a call, because obviously that's what we do. But the way to deal with the suppliers is you've got to get on a plane. If you don't employ somebody like my company to watch, what's going on with your products in China, then you've got to get on a plane and go there yourself. Because in China, seeing is believing, and assumption is the mother of all evils. And you have to get on there, have a look at what it is, and then you get a team. Get the team of engineers that are working on your product. Get them together in a room with a translator, and you just got to run through it in a very organized fashion. That's one thing the Chinese are not that good at. It's surprising to a lot of people, but they're not that organized and they don't analyze things very well. So you have to sort of run that for them, and then you can delegate and get your problems fixed. But the key is to be there.
Now, how does one ensure, say, good quality and delivery from a Chinese supplier, though?
Yeah, that's another great question, Michael. So if you, okay, that's a long answer, but I'll try to make it as quick as possible. The key of all, and I have obviously alluded to this already, is to find a good supplier. That's the number one key. Then you've got to lock them down with a good contract. And you have to put
all right, you're breaking up. Hey, Nick, you're breaking up. I apologize, but we out of time anyway. Give us a website. How can we learn more about your service?
Okay.
All right, I'm going to have to jump in right here. He's breaking up. His website is China2West.com. China2West.com. We're going to have to go. Nick, all right, that was Nick Cunningham from China. He was breaking up. Couldn't hear him. All right, that about does it for this edition of Home Talk. Don't forget, we're going to be back here in 2 weeks. Next week, we're going to be running the best of Home Talk USA, the best of the Cajun Contractor. Don't forget, please remember, as we celebrate the 4th of July, our Independence Day, freedom is not free. I'm the Cajun Man on behalf of all our staff, the Business Talk and the Business TV, Brandon, who runs the board op. We want to wish all of you a safe and happy Independence Day. God bless you, and God bless America. See you in 2 weeks.